Hi, Jacqueline Foster here. So excited to be back sharing my journeys on the pole with you all, the life experiences, and what I'm learning from taking pole dancing classes at Sheila Kelly's S Factor. And this week, I'm really excited to be sharing a topic that's very near and dear to my heart and very present in my life at this moment. And it's this idea of finding a sacred space to express without censor. And to give you an example of an experience I had recently in doing that, I went to class just last night, and I had a lot of emotions, a lot of feelings, a lot of sensations that were going on in my body that I knew I needed to give a space to express because it was starting to feel really pent up and like it was hardening me a little bit, and more than a little bit. So when I went to class, I didn't really have a song that I felt would be appropriate. And just to tell you, each week now, where we are in our levels, we get to pick a song and bring a song every week. So I didn't have a song that I knew I wanted to do. So I asked the teacher to just give me a song that felt a little bit dark and heavy, because those were the emotions that I was feeling that I felt most needed to be released. So I started actually face down on the floor in the middle of class, and I just allowed myself to be in my body, to let go of whatever thoughts were going on, and to just really physically be in the experience. And it was awesome. I don't really remember what I did, but I do remember that afterwards I felt this amazing release, felt so much better. The reason I want to share this is because I think that this is so vital for every single person. We all have relationships. We all have jobs. We all have positions where we're constantly interacting with other people. And a lot of times those interactions will bring up experiences that can cause anger, frustration. You know, we all have these things, and a lot of times the tendency is just to kind of complain about them or to vent about them with other people. And that can be helpful in certain cases. It can be productive, but when we're just bringing up the same crap again and again and feeling those same emotions and just kind of pushing them down, not allowing them just space to express, we get more frustrated and we don't feel good. And the idea, I think, is to work through those emotions and express them, those feelings, those emotions, whatever is going on, and allow it a space so that we can really step into feeling authentic and to being passionate and using that passion to fuel us forward and not to feel stuck and just aggravated and like where we can't move or we can't breathe. And finding this sacred space for expression without censor is a huge way to help to move into a different space of that authenticity, that rawness that feels really good and that feels like you are gaining a sense of power and momentum. So I encourage you to think about a space in your life where you either have it or you've been thinking about expressing, and whether it be, as we've talked about some different ideas before, but whether it be writing, painting, acting, whether it be just exercise, that for you maybe your art form is running, is just getting out on the road and really just being present with your body. And that's the key to this experience of being in this space without censor, is dropping into your body. If you're thinking a lot and you're just kind of going off in your thoughts and in this vicious cycle, I don't believe that to be true expression. But if you're just dropping into your body and allowing what comes out to come out, and it can be done through word, but the thing here is that you are moving out of the thinking process and into the feeling and acting and allowing process. And this does take time, it takes practice, and it is very important that you feel safe in that space, because for so many of us, this is so new. And for me, to get to a space where I am now in my classes, I've been doing this for about, I think, 6 or 7 months now, I feel very different and a lot more comfortable in expressing that rawness and that authenticity than I did, months ago. So I encourage you to start moving into this process, into finding a space where you can express creatively and freely without censor. Give those emotions and those feelings that feel quote unquote bad or that feel heavy to you, giving them a space to express and seeing how that provides a transformation in other areas of your life. So, and the final note with that I'd like to share is a lot of times I think the word expression can be misunderstood. I think a lot of times when we think about expressing, we might think of it as, just, we might think if we're complaining to a friend or if we're repeating the same story that we're just expressing ourselves. But I think a lot of times in that way it can actually become destructive. So what we want to make sure is that the expression is done in a way that is not harmful to ourselves or others, and that really leads us to a feeling of freedom and of, as I've repeated a few times, that authenticity and that rawness that brings us a sense of true power and really propels us forward to create more possibilities in our lives. So just think, and as you're experimenting with expressing and as you're allowing yourself to move without censor, are you allowing yourself to move into your body? And how are you feeling when that's over, when that's done? And I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to hear, how this works for you, if this works for you, any questions that you have about it. This is something that for me has been a definite process, but I've found that the rewards of tapping into this space, this sacred space without censoring and allowing that expression has been huge in other areas of my life. So thank you so much for listening. It's been great to share this with you, and I look forward to sharing more in the future. Thanks so much.